riding, and that is the urgency shown by the yellow jersey to try and make up ground. Because there's Matt Beers, second place, and his partner, only 2 riders further back, Tristan Norkier. 1 minute and 49 seconds is the deficit to the yellow jersey. A little bit longer line. Travis Steadman goes through. There is the second of the yellow jersey riders. Steve is in there as well. Heard him talking about the fatigue and one of the toughest days he's had on his Absa Cape Epic journey. And right at the back there, great riding this week from Keegan Tullis and Herman Faree. Really done very, very well. Cape Culture Nature Reserve team. Beautiful images. Early morning, the sun illuminating the slopes on the northern side of Otmaskop, and they're into the Bunhook Valley, a special place just outside Stellenbosch here. And little gaps appearing, as you can see. So there are 4 different descents off here, and the first one they've passed already, which is Skyfall. They have used that in the past, but now they'll get past a Fynbos descent, looking into the sun, making sure that he finds the line. Schwartzbauer, Meyer, Stutzman, look over his shoulder by Zaro, and all the rest. He's looking back at his partner, who's perhaps have split their workload here. Zara and Zanotti, one each looking after one of the yellow jersey riders.
Yeah, definitely team tactics, always making sure that if you have a mechanical, you have someone next to you that can give you a wheel immediately if you need it. And also here, tricky conditions because the sun is so low, and as you could see with Luca, he's like holding up his hand just to kind of like get an idea of where the trail is going. Also a hard choice on the eyewear. Some of those guys will have photochromic lenses in there. Those are the ones that get darker the more sun, UV light is hitting them. Because in the morning, sometimes you go through the woods still dark, and then during the day, of course, you get more sun, more light. But to be honest, riding and racing this early in the morning along the mountain line where the sun is in and out can be super tricky as well.
There's a position to be. What a position. Watching the riders. These youngsters have got up to the top of the mountain very early this morning. Watching the riders come past them there. Fantastic support. Yeah. That's the Fynbos descent, the first one on the left there. That has been ridden in the Absa Cape Epic the last time they were here, but they're snaking past that. And today will be, in a way, a tip of the hat, a tribute to all the trail builders who've created these trails around here. Kim Lord, one of the original pioneers and path makers here, he would have been involved in creating this traverse across the side of the mountain here. And he's handed the baton on to so many other trail builders. We'll get to know their handiwork and get to know them a little more as the race progresses. But this is a brilliant work done by the trail builders to build initially and to maintain and rehabilitate. Stellenbosch Trail Fund do a great job in making sure these trails are maintained and in the sort of condition that not just these Absa Cape Epic riders can enjoy, but everyone who comes to Stellenbosch, and there are thousands who come every year just to ride their mountain bikes.
Yeah, this is cross country, down country heaven. The trails that we have here within this area, you will see they are beautiful, shaped in along the mountain ridge. You up high, the views that you get from the top over there, you see almost all the way to Cape Town. You see Table Mountain even from that far away when the weather is good. And so also it's for anyone, even for the kids. I take my kids out there. It's well shaped. It's beautiful. You have jumps in there, big berms in there. There's ladders, everything. Like it really is world class trail riding you can have here.
Yeah, you can see the trail just disappearing out of shot there. That's another descent off this mountain. It's called the Commissa's descent. So, yeah, they're passing that one. They passed a couple here because there are so many options to drop down here. And they'll be dropping down for the first time in the Absa Cape Epic, a run called Gum Run. And that'll be coming up very, very shortly. And the pecking order is established here. No real chance to get past, although we did see Luca Brido manage to get past a couple of riders on that switchback a little bit earlier. The skill of the man. Sam Gay's in there as well. These are the cross-country stars. Matt Beers, marathon and gravel specialist behind him. Wout Alleman, the Belgian champion, has had a real roller coaster of a week with Martin Storsek, but they're still in the thick of it. Mawat Alaman, he wants to have a say here on this stage. Down they go.
Yeah, beautiful trail, you will see. They're all having fun now. That's also a bit of time to bring your heart rate down again. There's not much you can do. You're not going to make much time on those trails. Everyone is so highly skilled that you're pretty much right on the limits of the trail, more than your own. And that is a good opportunity to bring your heart rate down, be ready for the next punchy climb that will await you at the bottom. And you can see all single line, everyone is kind of like riding the same speed, and overtaking in a section like this makes very little sense. You're going to risk too much. Everyone is going too fast anyway, so it's just kind of like awaiting your turn.
Beautiful scenes in the Absa Cape Epic on stage 6 here as the riders get to grips with these trails. And talk about grip, they'll be very, very nice today after the rain that fell over these last couple of days here. It'll be nice and riders like as they swing into these switchbacks. Luca Schwartzbauer on the front. Luis Meyer is just behind him, the Colombian. Mark Stutzman is there. Matissa Zara. Then Simone Avendetto, Sam Gaze, and Matt Beers. A line of the very best riders in the world enjoying these sensational trails here in the Bannock Valley. Yeah, so many trail builders who've contributed to making this such a mecca here. Great Xterra, former world champion Conrad Stolz has been responsible for a lot of these trails over the years. Of course, we'll be hitting Wynand Besson's trails in Old Bethlehem Farm very shortly on the other side of the valley. As I said, Kim Lord was one of those early pioneers exploring and cutting trail here. Beautiful scenes. It's an effort to get up to these trails from the Stellenbosch side to get up over Bannock, but you can also access them from this Bannock Valley side. If you go drive over Helshoek Pass, and you can park at one or two of the wine farms and access these trails. So you don't have to go all the way up there, but if you're on an e-bike, it does make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely. That's also where the women start. So they're going to come through the first tech zone, feed zone very quickly. That's at 15 kilometers. So the elite woman race is only 15 kilometers less today than the men. So it's very little. And they are going to pass through there very shortly. So the women are starting at 7:45 today. And it will take another, I would say, 10 minutes the most to get all the elite men through that point, and then from there onwards the woman will be joining the same course.
Yeah, it's a movable feast to a degree. We saw yesterday, it took a little bit of time to get the riders, in fact the previous day, to get the riders through in Greyton. One or two had picked up some mechanicals, so it does take a little bit of time, but they need to get the last rider of the elites out, and then the elite women can start. Boy, you can only but enjoy that. I tell you, these riders will be absolutely loving this. Out of that little section of trail, a little bit of a traverse across the dual track now, and they'll drop into another section of single track down towards Camissa Farm and Bannock Farm. And look at Gay starting to move up. He wants to join his partner, Luca Schwartzbauer.
Yeah, if you weren't inspired to buy an early entry ticket yesterday because of all the drama and the long stages, you should. And you will be today. I mean, there's no better riding than what we get to see right now.
There we go. You can on Monday put your name down and get onto that waiting list, or not even, actually get an early bird entry on Monday, and you are secured. You've got a whole year to get your mind and your body in shape to prepare for this Absa Cape Epic. It is a must-do. Diving into that single track. Everyone wants to get in there. Alaman did well there, just behind Matt Beers, who's following the line of Simone Avendetto further back. Tristan Norkiers, not too many riders back, 3 riders back. And then Luca Bride. So a little bit of a chink in the armor of the yellow jerseys, who until today, and maybe even that last kilometer yesterday, the recovery from Simone Avendetto after the fall he had going into the single track was quite remarkable. The adrenaline must have just driven him with huge determination to catch up to Brido, and they took their first stage win. and increased their advantage by 12 seconds over Matt Beers and his partner Tristan O'Keefe, who had the yellow jersey after the prologue, but eventually they lost it on stage 3 to the Rido Avendetto pair.
Yeah, that finish of yesterday was something else. Like, I don't know how he managed to get by all the riders again. I mean, there was 4 or 5 riders between, oh, actually 3 riders, and coming dead last and still making it through on the last kilometer of the race when it's so twisty and windy. It's impressive.
I think Gaze has done well here. Is that him second ride? I can't quite make out, but if it is, the Canyon team are putting a bit of pressure on Clementizia Aubert. Remember, just 20 seconds. Canyon lost third place yesterday to Clementizia Aubert. Valero and Stutzman were superb yesterday. They really were. And they are looking to take that third place back. They've had 2 stage wins already, and they're clearly fired up and fighting today.
Yeah, and some guys in the interview, he was very motivated for today. He said, like, yesterday they lost a little bit of time, but they're ready to make it back today. And this is definitely the right move to do. Try to split it up, get ahead of it. We saw it in the women's race yesterday. You do benefit from riding your own race at the front. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. They did a good job to kind of like get together that early again when it was split up earlier. And now it's, yeah, we'll see how far they can push it now.
Yeah. Well, a minute into their journey for this batch, rolling off the start line at Kutzenberg. And yeah, fatigue legs, no question about it. If you're not fatigued now, then you never will be, because this is a grueling journey. If you think where we started back in Mirandal, and we were looking from that prologue, a 20-kilometer prologue, we could see these mountains in the distance, and the riders knew they had to get here. But the journey here was paved with pain and some disappointment and plenty of elation and enjoyment. Up they go on the Bannock berms here, sweeping down. This is the work of, say, Conrad Stolz, the trail builder who spent many years at the very top of the tree. He's actually a winner of the Absa Cape Epic in the Masters category, I think it is. So he's, or the mixed, I can't quite remember, but he's certainly done this event, and now he's creating the trails for these riders to thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, huge amount of effort going into building trails like this, and a lot of it is still handmade. Like, there's no heavy machinery that they take out there. Some little diggers here and there, but it is a lot of labor that goes in to create those kind of trails.
And it's not too intimidating. These, as Benno was saying, you can bring, you come down here. These riders obviously flying over this little jump, nothing too serious, but all very rideable. And there are, if there isn't, there's a B line to ride. The A line, in fact, is down next to the dam here. The riders going around on the paving and dropping down into this forested section. A wonderful, mazy little trail here to enjoy. So they're sticking to the traditional route down past Bannock Farms, Maria Stein's property here. Wonderful landowner, big mountain bike family, of course, Maria and Mariki and their family. And looking probably from just next to their garden. The dinosaurs are out. How cool. The dinos are here.
Are they going around? There's 2 lines around this port.
Yeah, that first line they avoided there is ridiculous. You come down and then up a very steep little hill. But they've avoided that where people are standing there. You can see them watching there. So they've just come through the fence line onto the lawn. And well, they are all out today. What an absolute sight it is. Schwarzbauer and Gaze, Luis Meyer from 7C Pedregal. Through the first tech zone, it is Matt Beers, Wout Allemann, and Tristan Nokia has done well here. Matisse Zaro guiding their Stutzman, Valero, and they are together. Yep, Brido was the man at the back there. Their yellow jerseys have saved a little bit of a scary moment for them. Marco Hubert, Simon Stibjan, then Travis Stedman, Lucas Baum, Samueli Poro. And right at the back here, Gioli Di Cosmo. Plenty of Italian riders who know this race very well. No Signed Fabian Rabensteiner, his partner, pulling out on stage 4 after a horrible crash. Casey South, broken collarbone and shoulder. He's being treated, sadly. Rabensteiner not involved any longer, sadly.
Here we could also get a glimpse of the women's start. They're waiting there in the field for the man to pass.
And a quick look at those splits after 15 Ks. So Canyon have a little buffer early on, trying to put pressure on Climatizio Orbea in third place on the trails here. That's a race within a race today, because they're fighting for third place. Toyota Specialized in Buco, Willie Vittoria separated by 5 seconds, so nothing really to go on there after that initial little chink in the armor there. Whether Brido was caught out of position going up the climb, or his legs just cold at the start of the day, and he'll ride himself in. It is something that Beers and Nokia will feed off and use and say, look, let's see if we can really put them under pressure later on in the stage. Perhaps the key moments will come on the steep slopes of Simonsberg as they climb up in Boschendal. I'm wondering if Luis Meyer is also flying solo as a freelancer today. And Sam Gay says, if you're going to sit there, come and do some work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean...
and he responds. Good for him.
Well done.
It's not a free ride, says Canyon men, so go and do some work on the front. And they head past Oldenburg and Rainbow's End wine farms up on the right-hand side here, deep into the valley.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if he's riding by himself today, if he's just showing off his strength, and or if he's going to wait for his partner a little bit later on. We saw yesterday a similar scenario, I think, and now it just, same again.
Yeah, partner pulls out at this. He's got to cross the line. We'll emphasize that again. The rider has to, both riders have to cross the line, and then if the one rider is not feeling well and is going to abandon, he can abandon there. But that legitimizes his partner to be able to take part in the race and be part of proceedings here. So it's once the stage is over, as in Mark Pittson's case, as in Fabian Rabensteiner's case, if they were to ride today, they would be wearing the Lonely Leopard jersey and they would be starting way back. Look at Wout Alleman and Martin Stosek, the Belgian and Czech champions, having a conversation there, trying to plot a plan here. Alleman won here in 2022 with Fabian Rabensteiner. Now, to the start of the women's race and getting called up the Haley Preen, Haley Smith combination.
The duo of Kate Courtney and Greta Seibold. And your race leaders going into the penultimate stage of the
Greta Seibold, Kate Courtney roll up to the start line. Second place overall in their category, of course. And this is the leaders. Just under 15-minute advantage to Alessandra Keller and Candice Lill. Thomas Maxim Sabi. So the elite men should all have passed through.
You can see Max there.
Max is there. He's been doing some interviews. I think Ariane's down there as well. We'll hear from those riders.
Our official starter today will be the UCI
next grandstand.
3 minutes to the start. The stage.
3 minutes to the start of the women's race. They're starting just a little bit behind schedule. As I said, it's a logistical thing that the Absa Cape Epic are coming to grips with, but it seems to be working.
Yeah, no, very much. Speaking to all the women after the race, it again, compromises from everyone is required, but so far it has been a very, very, very good race. They definitely benefit a little bit from the shorter stage, the same race time as the men, and I'm sure it's going to continue this way. It is a more feisty race and a more fair race for everyone.
So stage 6 for our elite women, 2 minutes. Our UCI commissaire holds up his fingers saying 2 minutes to the start. 14 minutes the advantage to Candice Lill and Alessandra Keller over Kate Courtney, the world champion, stripes on her jersey, the marathon world champion. Wonderful to have the marathon world champion here showing off the stripes, and she's certainly done that. Winning a stage with Greta Seibold into Grayton. But yesterday, firmly snatching back the advantage and the initiative and nailing it down, you feel, were Candice Lill and Alessandra Keller. But if anyone knows how cruel this race can be with the latter stages, that's Candice Lill. She had the leader's jersey on her shoulders on the last stage, only to lose it to a major mechanical in 2023. And the race that year went to Vera Loza and Kim LeCourt. Vera no longer part of the race, sadly. Rosa van Doorn, a nasty crash on stage 4, having to withdraw from the race.
Yeah, I'm sure they ride very conservative today. Like you mentioned, you have to look out until the very last moment, not to have a mechanical, not to have an issue. They have a very good gap now, so there's no need. We all know they were very strong. They are very strong, and I don't expect them to push off the gun too hard. More conservative. If they have good legs, they're definitely going to go their own speed. Stay focused as well, and then we'll see how this is going to play out. But it looks very good for them.
Yeah, stay safe. With a buffer like that, you want to be conservative. Really, you don't want to take too many risks. You don't want to have any issues, and they haven't yet. And that's something that they'll be mindful of. About to get underway. Away they go in the elite women's race, and they roll off the start line down in Bannock Valley and head out on their journey today. 62 kilometers.
Greta Seiwald starting with a long sleeve jersey is not a good sign. Let's see.
Yeah, she was in that blue long sleeve jersey alongside Kate Courtney. We'd like to keep an eye on her. It is she wasn't feeling 100% this morning, so that is a great distress for She Sends Foundation. And again, we've spoken about it before. If a rider's not feeling 100%, they might, in order to keep the team or her partner in the race, start the race, and then you're officially underway as a team, and then one rider who's not feeling well might pull out. No signs yet.
Yeah, that gives, if that's the case, that gives Kate Courtney the opportunity to ride another stage, race another stage, not just ride another stage, race another stage. Maybe help some of the other teams to kind of like, close some gaps, or if it's just to be within the race, get more coverage and enjoy those trails.
Along the Ziva and let's go down to the start and hear from some of those riders at the Women's Elite start.
Alessandra, you just put a jacket back on. It's pretty chilly this morning. It's almost like going back to Switzerland.
Almost. But still, there is sun, like when you get up in the morning, it's a good day.
You have ridden a 4 trail seeker in this area and know probably most of the trails. Are you looking forward to some great single track today?
Yeah, I would say I probably know almost every corner. It almost felt like coming home. I spend a lot of time here, so I'm really lucky and I'm looking forward. Would have been also cool to do it with even a bit more, like less tired legs, but I guess that's what it is.
It's your first Cape Epic, waking up with such a tired body. It must be quite something that you're not that used to, and how is it, and how do you convince your legs to just still keep turning?
Well, I think with Cape Epic it's just you go with the flow. I mean, it's for everything, for everyone it's the same, so that actually helps. But obviously I didn't race in eight days in a row, or I needed it 8 days of training in a row. So you always get a rest day because you want the performance to be proper, and I think that's the difference between racing and training. You want it also to be proper, and you find that extra energy.
Heli Preen, it's stage 6 today. How is the body feeling of the very tough Queen stage?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I really enjoyed yesterday's stage, so yeah, I'm excited for the next 2 stages.
But it must be a little bit tired. Just talk us through how it was getting up this morning and having to do another 2 stages.
A little bit tired, but also surprisingly not. Like, I think I always just get better towards the end of the epic, and Yeah, my body's, I think, just gets better and better, and the tide is good for me, so I enjoy it.
You haven't quite contested for a stage run. Is that maybe something you will try and do today?
Like 2 stages ago, we got really close, and I started thinking about it. But I think we're trying to protect our third and GC. If we're in that position, then that would be really cool.
Great, thank you. Good luck out there.
Thank you.
Hayley Smith, the Canadian marathon champion. How's the balance on the rollers this morning after so many tough stages?
It's okay. It's a little bit hectic in this field. It's a little bumpy, but honestly feeling pretty good and excited for today.
I asked Hayley as well, is that maybe a day we will be trying for a stage win?
I mean, we're trying for a stage win every day. We haven't been successful yet, but we're just going to take it as it comes. We feel once we're out there and once we get on the single track. We're just hoping for a clean day.
Coming from Canada, you must be looking forward to some great trails today around Stellenbosch and Banghoek.
Yeah.
Have you ridden any of this?
Not the things that we're going to do today. I've ridden a bunch in Jonkershoek, but this is all new to me.
And any message maybe for the people at home watching from Canada? Maybe they're still sleeping probably at the moment, but any message to the people at home?
Yeah, just thanks for following along. This is one of my favorite races on the planet, and it's a privilege to be here racing in the Maple Leaf. So thanks for your support.
Thank you so much. Bianca, you study here in Stellenbosch. You must know the trails quite well and look forward to them.
I knew Jonkershoek quite well. Never actually came this side, but yeah, I have ridden here quite a bit. It's super nice, and the vibe's also very cool.
Are your mates from studies coming to cheer for you today?
Yeah, there are lots going to be out, which is going to be cool. I don't know if I'll see them because I'll be seeing red mist, but it'll be nice to see them at the finish.
You're racing for Sani to see the race your dad started. Maybe just the difference between racing in the Cape and racing in KZN?
Yeah, I grew up on the Sani trails and that's why I ride a bike, so super special to represent it. It's like might as well race my brand, which is, so cool.
Yeah, the whole family is involved there. How is the body feeling after the Queen stage? How was it waking up this morning and just needing to still push for 2 days?
Yeah, the Queen stage for me was actually quite a bit better. Like the longest stage, we didn't have to push it 190% like we've been doing on the shorter stages. So I actually really enjoyed the Queen stage. Yeah.
Great, good luck for the rest of the stages.
Thank you.
Sam Sanders, very experienced rider here, the one that's probably got the most epics in her legs from all the women here. A tip to all the other women this late in the stage, just how to convince your legs to still keep turning.
Yeah, this is all about the head game from here on out. Everyone's tired, everyone's legs are sore. So you just mentally have to prepare. Well, I think knowing that it's going to hurt, but you have to wrap your head around it.
Do you have a certain strategy in your mind? Do you kind of break it down in certain stages? Or what's your approach going into the last stages of the epic?
Shucks. I mean, now that I've done so many, I think I just know what to expect. But it's cool because every year I actually get the recipe a little more fine-tuned, and I feel really good at this point, which could also just be muscle memory, I'm not sure. But for me, just staying positive, having positive people around you, and most importantly, at the end of the day, wake up, be grateful that you have the capacity to be here, and enjoy it.
Sam Sanders, who is into her 7th Absa Cape Epic. She's won the mixed twice in her 3 events in the mixed, and this is her 4th as in the women's race. She finished 8th in 2017 with Jeannie Dreyer. Didn't finish in 2019. It was an individual finish in 2018, so hoping with Bianca Hoare to finish off this one, she should be doing that. We're with the elite women heading up into the Bannock Valley, little short, steep pitch that they get over there. Hayley Smith on the front of the race here at the moment. And we'll see some changes going on in this elite women's race. We're watching stage 6 of the Absa Cape Epic here in Stellenbosch, and it is a beautiful morning, great conditions for the racers to show their skills. And enjoy the wonderful trail network that abounds around Stellenbosch for 2 days. This is the first of 2 days here. The grand finale will also be in this part of the world. The elite women have just started their race, 62 kilometers. They started in the Bannock Valley, 1,850 meters of climbing. And we are watching them now with Hayley Smith of Canada on the front of this race. And there have been some dynamic changes here as her partner, Hayley Preen, attacks now and gets a little bit closer to Hayley Smith. They sense an opportunity because the race has taken on a very different hue today. The race lead with Alessandra Keller and Candice Lill. Overall, they have a 14-minute and nearly 15-minute lead over Kate Courtney and Greta Servold. But the big news is that they are not riding at the moment.
No, unfortunately, Greta Servold, she had to withdraw from the race. We saw the long jersey at the start. That wasn't a good sign. And we do have the confirmation now that she did not feel well overnight. She had a bit of fever coming up. She did try to get more food into her body. She couldn't eat last night, and that is a very sad information. And we really wish her well to recover quickly. And she pretty much just rolled off the start to kind of like give Kate another day within this race.
Very, very disappointing news for the world champion Kate Courtney and her Italian partner Greta Servold. But it is the deep end for Servold in a lot of these riders who are making their debuts here, getting down to the second weekend of the Absa Cape Epic. It's uncharted territory for a lot of riders.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it is a bonus every single stage that they got through, considering that they just got together the week before, a couple of days before the race. Of course, the dynamic for Greta has changed completely. She was supposed to ride the Absa Cape Epic, but more in the mix category as a preparation for the World Cup. And then within a couple of days, she found herself within the position to race for the GC within the women's race. So very different dynamic, of course. And it's not a lack of trying. She really tried everything. She dig deep yesterday. We saw that Kate was helping her a little bit up the climbs towards the end. And again, it's part of this race. It is the hardest race in the world, and unfortunately, this is just one of those sad situations. But she didn't have a crash.
She's fine.
It will
hit. So great disappointment for She Sends Foundation, who was second overall at the start of the day. Earlier today, 7 o'clock in the morning here in Stellenbosch, the elite men are charged away from the University of Stellenbosch fields here at Kutsenberg to start their stage. And the challenge for the men today, 76 kilometers, 2,450 meters of climbing, a 4.5 chainring stage today, which suggests the five chainring was yesterday's Queen stage. So what's left in the tank must be utilized very cleverly today, because there's going to be plenty of hard work to do. If you look at the amount of climbing, 2,450 over 76 kilometers per kilometer today is one of the toughest days, and they went straight into it. The Botmas Corp climb, and Simone Avendetto was looking good, but his partner Luca Brido having to dig deep. There was a bit of a gap that started to open between the two riders in the yellow jerseys, which encouraged the red jerseys of the Absa African leaders. And second place overall, Matt Beers and Tristan Norkier. 1 minute and 49 was their deficit at the start of the day. And the Canyon pair, Luca Schwarzbauer and his partner Sam Gaze, had everything to gain today, because they were just 20 seconds behind third place Clementizia Orbea going into the stage. So big opportunity for them to move back into third place. The other rider in that mix there is Luis Meyer from Colombia. His partner is Kieran Solis. We saw them yesterday at the front of the race. We saw them at stage 1 helping each other. There is Kieran Solis going through now, enjoying the last few days of the Absa Cape Epic after they lost, well, nearly on 3 hours on the first stage of the race in Montague. Dashing in, just getting in ahead of Travis Stedman there. Lucas Baum goes in. Shimon Steve John into the single track. And a bit of a breeze on the top of the mountain here. And the Samparesi brothers having to wait for one another. Nicola here just waiting for his brother Lorenzo. As there goes Luca Brido in the company of Matti Cesaro or Yuri Zanotti, one of his teammates. So they're just guiding each other, the teammates, or trade teammates anyway, towards the front end of the race. Over the top of that climb and onto the Sky Traverse on the sunshine side of Botmos Corp. And the long line of riders on a single track trail. There'll be lots of single track today, so passing and taking opportunities will be pivotal and paramount today. If you want to gain position, your skill on the single track will have to be absolutely on point. Lucas Schwartzbauer on the front here. So yeah, the Canyon team motivated. They've got 2 stage wins already in this race, and 3rd place on the podium, the overall podium, beckons for the German and the New Zealander. Big opportunities for them. Tapping out a tempo and looking into the sun. It's not easy in this early morning ride. The sun shining straight into their eyes. This mountain was burnt about 3-4 months ago. It's recovered beautifully, and the trails are magical today after the rain here in Stellenbosch over the last couple of days. It really is in prime condition. There's the yellow jersey, Luca Brido. So a bit of a split there, but no panic. These men are richly experienced, and they know how to manage their efforts. They know how to catch. Oh, this is trouble for Clementizia Aubert. And now, this is Samueli Porro is helping out there. I hadn't seen Luis Martinez, his partner. Remember, they are in 3rd overall. If this is Valero, but I'm not sure.
No, I'm not sure if that is actually him. Looking at who's passing now.
Because Porro was riding with Stutzman and Valero at the front of the race going up the climb, but I didn't see his partner, but that might well be his partner. Samueli Porro, richly experienced here. He's back again. Luis Martinez is his Spanish partner.
There's the Beckens. Yeah, that was Beckens coming by.
So that was a little bit of drama for Clementizia Aubert, and quick as a flash, they are down into Old Bethlehem Farm and on a wonderful trail called the Cape Cobra. Beautiful, smooth riding, this super fast, and these riders will absolutely love this.
Yeah, this is such an iconic trail, such a smooth, nice trail. And from here they go up and do another one, an iconic one, the Afterburner called, that has a little bit of a gap jump at the bottom that those guys definitely not going to be afraid of.
Well, we're sweeping now down with Media e-bike, the Bulls Media e-bike, and it is just beautiful sight. These berms caked in and built beautifully here, originally by Conrad Stolz, now maintained so well by Wynand Besson, who looks after these trails, and he's built a new one, especially for the Absa Cape Epic. No one has ridden on it because it was only finished during the week. It's a short transition from the Cape Cobra across to Afterburn, another wonderful single track,
that's
which
the
have just
jump.
come down.
Oh, they don't even take it.
Stefan thought he was going to do the gap jump. In fact, they've just come down Afterburn. They've been so fast, and now they will transition across a trail to across the road. Stutzman and Valero. This is the back end of the Afterburn trail.
You can see there's already quite a bit of gaps opening. That must be at least, and the yellow jersey is in the back, so that's at least a minute to the front from what we saw just now.
But pivotal to that is that Matt Beers and Tristan Nokier are behind the yellow jersey. So that's the race within a race. There's a stage win up for grabs here. There's 3rd place up for grabs between Clementizia Aubert who are third at the moment.
Up, here we go.
There we go, doing the gap. The yellow jerseys, that's, well, meat and drink for them. Beers opting for the safer line here, and then the two Origine Willier riders as well, and Marco Hubert as well as Travis Stedman. Into Old Bethlehem Farm. This is beautiful trails. This. That's the gap jump, yeah. A and B lines here. You have to know your stuff to do the gap jump.
Yep.
It's noticeable that the cross-country riders are happy to do the gap jump. The marathon men not quite so much, taking it a little bit cautiously.
Yeah, it's all taking risk if you should take the risk or not. I mean, it's a jump most of the people can do. All of them can do it, I promise.
No, they can, yes.
Within this race, again, you're so late in the race, you're a little bit tired. You don't want to take unnecessarily risk at all. Yes.
Whoa, lovely. These men are just loving it out there. And why not? Ruud Goosen and Jaden Turlo. They know these trails so well. There was a big marathon race here not too long ago that saw them ride all these beautiful whipping, throwing his whips and showing his skills.
Let's see. He's definitely going to take it. What?
Nope.
No way.
Oh, discretion, the better part of valor for those two as they go down the Durden Bucco Specialized team there, third team in the race. Played a role in this race in keeping Matt Beers and Tristan Uki in the race. Stefan Scham is out on the Bulls Media e-bike, a three-time winner of the Absa Cape Epic as they traverse across from Old Bethlehem to Boschendal. Morning, Stefan.
Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day.
Beautiful day. We were a little bit disappointed you didn't take the gap jump at the bottom there, Stefan.
Yeah, I'm actually also disappointed at myself. But also, as Benno said, yeah, I don't want to risk anything. Really, I haven't done the gap jump yet, and I don't want to risk like all this expensive stuff in my backpack.
Absolutely. We don't want to miss you being on the trail. So good decision. Thank you. So Canyon on the front here. Canyon trying to steal back third place from Clementizia Aubert.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is their terrain. This is their day, and obviously they mean business. Taking turns at the front. Oh, well, no. Actually, Sam Gaze is in the front for the whole single track section. And it looks like he's enjoying it a lot. And it's cross-country terrain. Punchy climbs. The single tracks where you need to stay focused. It's cool to watch. And we got a cool race going on.
We have got a really cool race. Lots of dynamics going on here. That fight for third place, the fight for overall 1 minute and 49 in it. Just talk us through the climb up Botmas Kop. Very steep, and you have to be warmed up to get into that because it comes so early, that first climb.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do the climb and to start from the start. I only jumped in at the women's start. It's a logistics thing, as for everyone else, but I can only imagine that they were going from the gun.
Now, Stefan, I can tell you now, you'll probably look over your shoulder and you'll see Wout Alleman and Martin Stosek bridging across to this trio of riders up front. Luis Meyer, his partner, is in the race. Alleman is motivated, isn't he?
Absolutely. He's been so motivated from day one, from the first stage. And obviously they perform amazing. Had a bit of bad luck. But now they're back in the lead group and everything to play in this race today.
There is a line they're riding here. You're riding a slightly rockier line, but this is known as a fairly rocky trail,
I'm making space for the guys. Yeah, this is a very rocky traverse.
Yeah. Across to Boschendal Farm. Very rocky trail here. Luis Meyer doing the right thing there, just allowing the team to come through. His partner is in the race, but he's further back in this. But clearly, as Benno said, perhaps showing off his strength and his skill there and saying, look, I can match these guys. Well, for a little while anyway, he's prepared to put his face at the front. There goes Stefan. Oh, no, it's not Stefan. Those motorbikers, the motos, just love this terrain as well. All right, thanks, Stefan. And we go back to the women and look at Alessandra Keller showing her skills, loving that little gap jump.
Yeah, good to see the woman doing the gap jump while most of the men just pass by safe. It is cool to see how much they love that kind of terrain, enjoying those trails. After what we had to go through in the last couple of days, this must be such a relief. Like, your body is not going to get smashed as hard as it has done so far. And that's just, again, beautiful riding here.
This is on the Klipwerf descent. Beautiful riding. Yeah, little jumps. I mean, even if you're not someone who likes to jump, you can't resist it. They are so well built and set up that you can just hop over them. Some of them are sharper and tricky. You've got to know a little bit more and be more confident. And as Stefan said, if you haven't done them before, go and have a look and get it right. And then
there's a step up coming up. Yep. Step up on the right, passing by, and then they go over that little concrete bridge and into the Cobra Trail, as we saw the man earlier.
We're sitting behind Katarzyna Sosna-Pinele and Georgia Marquet in the women's race, and all these women would have moved up because of the withdrawal. It is the news of the day, the withdrawal of Kate Courtney and Greta Servold, second place overall, and so now they'll all move up in the standings behind the overall leaders in that picture there, Candice Lill and Alessandra Keller. And they are leading the way, and just behind them is Hayley Smith, the Canadian, riding with Hayley Preen, who automatically now move into second overall on the general classification. Hayley Preen talked earlier today at the start about the potential for maybe going for a stage win. Well, today might be that opportunity for them. They've got to see off this pair, though. They were back in really dominant form yesterday, having not won the previous day into Greyton, with Kate Courtney and Greta Servold taking their first stage win there. But there was no question yesterday. There was fierce determination from Candice Lill and Alessandra Keller to use that Queen stage to their best of their ability. Now this, I think, is the new traverse. It is, I think, across the from the Cape Cobra that bridges across to the Afterburn section, and this is built by Wynand Besson, and really, really cool. It's called Highway to the Danger Zone, in keeping with the Top Gun theme. And they'll do a little bit of a climb and then drop into the Afterburn section. I must say, Wynand Besson is part of the trail network in the Western Cape. Beautiful on this private farm. He's got a team of builders, his main builder, Prince, and then Tau and Funwell. Funwell's the carpenter, so that bridge there would have been built by Funwell. Marlon is also part of his full-time team, and then he's got casual workers, Clive and Odwa, who help out to maintain these trails. And mountain bikers from around the world with them, and the community from Kyle Moore, from Peniel, Languedoc, all have the opportunity to come and walk and hike up these trails and into the mountains. So it's really a wonderful opportunity to get into the mountains and look up at those peaks. Jessie Nixon, good morning, Jessie, our superstar. How are you doing, Jessie?
Hi, Gerald. Nice to talk to you again.
All good, good. Now you've got riders in front of you. You were following them down that portage yesterday. Much different conditions. I'm suggesting that you couldn't have asked for better trail conditions today.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the trails today. And we've just done one little downhill now, and so smooth, such a pleasure. Nice flow on the bike. Amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be the story of the day today with these trail networks. Very, very different to the trails they've been riding, Montague and Greyton, quite raw and rough those. So these are really smooth. Just, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Kate Courtney and Greta Servold are out of the race now. So the dynamic changing up front a little bit. Opportunity for perhaps others to take a stage win and move up in GC.
Yes, definitely. Shame. I heard some rumors at the start that they were maybe not going to start. And then I saw them line up and I was like, okay, cool, let's see how this goes. But then shortly after, they just started with the group and pulled off 100 meters after the start. So we'll see what happens today. Maybe Candice is just going to pull a bigger gap. But I still think there'll be a good fight for second place today.
Yeah, Hayley Preen and her partner, Hayley Smith, looking for a stage win today. That would be a glorious moment, and they'll be hugely motivated. Now, yes, they will have to ride out of their socks to get the better of the orange leaders' jerseys, who just want to keep winning. They've got 5 out of 6 stages in their bag, so they really want this. Beautiful trails. That little rain we've had has made this prime stuff, hasn't it? It's really hero stuff.
Yeah, so definitely some hero dirt today, which is fantastic. Because we started the week with such dry, dusty conditions, and then obviously the rain. So it's actually a real pleasant day. Dirt is grippy, temperature's good at the moment, no wind. So I think it's a fantastic start to the day.
Where else would you rather be? Riding up this elevator section here on an e-bike. Doesn't get much better.
Yeah, it's all in a day's work, eh?
Yeah, lovely. Simonsberg Mountain on the left-hand side. There's great activity going on actually at Simonsberg Mountain today with Darkfest taking place across there. Maybe some of Jesse's family might be not quite taking part, but watching there as well.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is watching and my nephew's there. I do have some friends that are participating, which is really cool. People I grew up with are doing some big jumps today.
We'll elaborate a little bit more on the Darkfest. As you go down this afterburn, Jesse, enjoy it. What a thrill. We'll watch with you.
Steep bridge coming down. Yep. There's now the afterburner trail. That's what we saw earlier as well. That's where that gap jump is at the bottom. One of the best trails also to take your kids out there because it's nice and smooth. They can go on the beeline or even on the big jumps. It's just a wonderful, wonderful trail.
Jesse, have you ridden this before?
I have. I think I've only ridden it twice before, so I don't know too well. But this trail is built so nicely that a lot of the jumps you can kind of do. Sorry, just going with the jump there. A lot of them you can just do because they're built so nicely. The turns have got a lot of grip. Sure, it's a lot of fun.
You know about the gap jump at the bottom?
I do. I've only done it once before, but I don't think today is going to be the day to do it again.
Stefan didn't do it, so just letting you know, Stefan did.
I've got a free pass then if he didn't do it.
Exactly.
Oh, tempting, wasn't it? It was tempting. That was the gap jump. Well done, Jesse. You're sticking, you're solid, staying with your job, and that was staying with Katarzyna Sosna-Pinele and Georgia Marquette heading up the trail. Wonderful, wonderful watching you, Jesse. Thanks very much for that exhibition of class riding, following these riders and giving us an insight into what this trail is all about. Truly, truly beautiful riding on a spectacular morning, riding into the sun. Not easy, actually, riding into the sun sometimes here. Twisting and turning away and further up the trail. It's a traverse across here. This is, as we saw with Stefan a little bit earlier, it is a bit of a slog across the plains here. And then they'll get to cross the river and through Boschendal and onto the farm on the other side to explore those wonderful trails in Boschendal. Really, really looking forward to seeing them ride there. Some great purpose-built, hand-built trails for these riders to thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, this section here, crossing over to Boschendal, is probably the roughest out of all today. It is due to, well, the weather we had here in the Cape before. Some of the fires were here, or we had some fires not too long ago. And then also, there's a lot of water coming down the mountains too, so it's very washed out.
Yeah, I think it's an old, ancient old riverbed here. That so there's lots of rocks, and you'll see in a little while some of those white rocks as well. And when the storms come down the mountain, the water comes down the mountain, it washes them down here. So, yeah, it's very, very tricky and treacherous, but back on board with Jesse here. Beautiful riding. Simmonsburg Mountain, that is it in the distance there, presiding over. That'll be sort of background to their trail riding in a little while as they hit Boschendal Farm on the other side of the road, the tar road that bisects the valley here. So Haley Preen and Hayley Smith at the third and fourth riders here, and ahead of them Alessandra Keller and her partner Candice Lill. Another section of wonderful trail. Flowing, fast, thoroughly enjoyable trail day today for these riders, and they'll get more tomorrow as well on the grand finale day. Tomorrow exploring the wonders of Jonkershoek Valley, but today on the other side of the valley and the other side of the mountains from there, and just as pleasant. Now that rocky section that we saw the men riding a short while ago, that begins our rougher section anyway. You can see the white tone here. This old riverbed with plenty of rocks. It's been cleared to a large degree, but you've got to just keep an eye. Anything can happen, as we said earlier. Candice Lill with nearly 15 minutes of an advantage overall. Now, in fact, beg your pardon, a lot more than that because of the withdrawal of Kate Courtney and Greta Servold. So the second place team in the general classification on the stage now as well, Hayley Smith and Haley Preen, the beneficiaries of the withdrawal of Greta Servold. I don't know if Kate continued on riding. We saw a very warm and sympathetic hug on the start line, just after the start line between the two, whether Kate decided to carry on and we'll just ride at her own pace and enjoy the trails. We'll wait and see if we can catch up with her and find out if she's still out there. But no problem here at all for Candice Lill and Alessandra Keller. Then just to defend, to ride conservative, not take any risks, not do any of the big gap jumps. And well, we did see Alessandra do it. It's just instinctive for the Swiss riders, I think, just to go and do the jumps and get to enjoy the experience of these trails. Benno, we've been joined once again by Ariane Luthi, who was down at that start in the women's race. You perhaps give us a little more insight into Kate and Greta's situation.
Yeah, I could follow the interview of Jason Bull that he did with Greta. A very emotional interview. It's always such a tough decision to pull out of the race. I can very much relate. Yeah, she's had a fever overnight, apparently. And then also couldn't eat this morning. And if you have a fever, it's really basically always a sign that you don't start a race. If your body is showing that kind of sign of illness, that's definitely a no for racing. And it's so tough. You're first of all tired, plus you're ill. You suffered a lot. She suffered a lot throughout the night. And then having to make a decision like that is so difficult. But it's also so important for everybody out here. One always has this mentality, never give up, never give up. In sport, one is told at all times to never give up, but there's definitely moments when one has to say, look, the better decision is just to not continue racing here.
Jesse, just getting past the Absa African jerseys there of Sam Sanders and Bianca Hall, who also will just shuffle up. Yeah, it is. No one wants to make that decision. We saw sort of heartbreaking hug between the two on the start line there. You don't want to let your partner down. You don't want not to ride the race. That's why you've come here, and they were doing so well. Just a look at the women. They started there. You can see just on the slopes, the northern slopes of the Bottomos Kop into the valley. They've been already up Knickknacks, down Klipwerf, down Afterburn, and they're on this long traverse across the valley, and they will cross over into Boschendal Farm on the slopes of Simmonsburg Mountain, and there they will tackle Porcupine, Inferno, Sugar Bowl, and then back down to the river, if you like, follow the river trail and the road trail, and then come all the way past Ida's, at least Peniel and Kyle Moore, and then into the Ida's Valley Trail. before the last challenge of the day, which is back up Botmascorp from a different angle, and then the delight of flowing down the Doctor Trail, a beautiful single track from nearly the top of the Botmascorp. It'll take you down, rocketing down into Stellenbosch. A little bit of a kicker on the what they call the Bergpad here in Stellenbosch before finishing at Kutzenberg. That's the route for 62 kilometers today for the women.
Yeah, beautiful single tracks. Anybody who's come out for training in Stellenbosch has possibly made a little trip over Helshoogte Pass down to Banghoek, where they are doing most of the riding today. Absolutely stunning single tracks there by Boschendal. Porcupine, Sugar Barrel, all these trails are really, really nicely manicured, so much less rough than the previous days. Very flowy. The suspensions need to work a little bit less today.
Yeah, it's not quite as punishing in terms of the terrain that we've seen throughout this weekend. Hasn't that been a theme, a sub-theme through this race? The rocky terrain that's taken a heavy toll on bikes and body. And that all feeds into that fatigue that builds up through the week that you've got to manage somehow. Partnerships are tested. This is when they get tested, last couple of days of the race.
Yeah, for sure. One always says the Absa Cape Epic only really starts on stage 5, and that's really the first 3 days. You know, any pro rider often trains 3 consecutive days in a row. Maybe for a stage race, in preparation of a stage race, you maybe would add a 4th day of proper load before you take a rest day. And that's what your body is still quite used to, but to do a 5th day, a 6th day, that's when it really gets to you. And I mean, anybody, Canis said it, look, it's for everybody the same. Everybody will feel tired at this stage of the race, and that's for sure it. Although I was talking to Hayley Preen, and she was saying she was actually feeling really good. She really likes stage racing, and she likes the later stages of a stage race. She was looking really fresh to me, so it could possibly be that they are going in the attack for a stage win.
Yeah, I think this is a big opportunity for them. Stay with the race leaders as long as possible, Benno.
No, definitely. I think also, yes, what's bad luck for the other team is good luck for the others. It kind of like turns around. They take it probably as an opportunity as well. They are with the race leaders at the front. It looks like they're riding much more steady than yesterday. Yesterday they launched a big attack right away from the start to get that gap. Today it seems like consistent pace so far, at least. If the 2 Haleys now can stay on their wheel and probably start attacking on the next climb, that's where they shine as well. Get a bit of a gap in it. I don't know if the drive is there to close the gap, or if they just want to do their own race, keep it safe, concentrated for sure, because you do have to, and then just let the others go.
Over the big stile they go as they head towards the Boschendal. Let's go back to the start. We put up with a few more of the elite women ahead of the start.
Leila from Bosnia and Herzegovina, we're going into stage 6. 2 more days to go. How's the body feeling?
For me, it feels quite good. I think I've gotten used to getting up early, so that's really nice. Of course, we all feel tired, but you take some really positives you can find every day.
Is it something you prefer to have a bit more climbing in the stage? It's probably the most condensed climbing per kilometer of the stages in the Cape Epic.
Yeah, definitely. I think whoever comes from Europe is the one who loves climbing. So it's good for me, definitely. It's usually good for my partner too. If she recovers well, she can do very well on steep climbs. So let's hope she recovered nicely from the last days, and we can push it on the climbs.
You've won the Marathon World Cup Series overall before. Now you're doing the Absa Cape Epic. How does it maybe compare to do one-day races and a stage race like this, where you basically do a full season of Marathon World Cup just in 1 week?
I have to tell you honestly, I like stage races more because whoever is better is eventually, going to show it. And in one-day races, accidents, also if you have a bad day, you can't really do anything about it. And here you have 8 opportunities to show what you work for.
Thank you so much and good luck today.
Thank you.
Giorgia Marke, it's your first Cape Epic, your second stage race after the Swiss Epic last year. You actually came from quite a cross-country background, very strong rider in Nove Mesto. You had a very good race. How does it compare to do cross-country versus now the Cape Epic?
This is a special stage race, the most difficult and the most important in the world, and it's a privilege to participate, and it's like the Nove Mesto of cross country, the University of mountain bike, and different hard every meter, every single track or uphill, and mind attacking mode, and push, no different.
Like I said, you came from a cross-country background. The last year you've transitioned a bit more into marathon racing. Is that something you will continue to do, or you go back to cross-country?
In this season, I will do 80% marathon, and when there is a weekend free, I can do a cross-country, but more marathon this year.
And what other Epic Series races have you put onto your calendar? The 4 Islands, Andorra, Swiss Epic, any of those?
I think with Kata we will go to do 4 Iceland, because it's also closer to our home, and also I think Swiss Epic.
Great, good luck on the last 2 stages.
Thank you.
Monica, we saw you were battling a little bit the previous days, but yesterday you had a better day. You enjoyed the bit more climbing stages.
Bueno, es una etapa que digamos para nuestras condiciones es un poco corta. Para mí, digamos, es una etapa que me voy a disfrutar mucho, también sufrir, pero que seguramente va a ser mejor que el día anterior. Nada, hoy conocemos un poco del recorrido, así que sé que lo haremos muy bien y será un gran día.
Gracias. And maybe just a word to the people at home in Colombia watching. They must be excited to see you representing Colombia here.
Ya, Colombia es un lugar maravilloso, es un paraíso. Allá inicié mi deporte, el ciclismo. Y pues ahorita estoy aquí en Sudáfrica en una cuarta Cape disfrutándola.
Gracias. Good luck today. Good luck.
Yeah, lovely. Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas had a bumpy start to the week. They're again sort of riding themselves in. They're only 4 minutes behind Sandy Fish and Infinity, who are in 5th place now. And so there's very much a chance for Masi ISB Sport to perhaps make up some ground. So this is the route for our men's race, which started in Stellenbosch at Kutzenberg. They went up over Botmaskop and then dropped down to the Bannock Valley, and they've already passed through a lot of the trails in the Bannock Valley. They're heading into Boschendal now, and plenty of hard climbs up the slopes of Simonsberg Mountain. The Porcupine first, and then they will do those trails that lead them to Sugar Bowl. Such fun. Inferno they have to do before then, but a long, hard traverse across the slopes of Simonsberg Mountain. That little section in the middle there from about 37 k's to 52, 53. That's going to be punishing, and that could be where moves could be made. Or will it be after Ida's Valley as they climb up to the Doctor? The fight to get into the single track of the Doctor is going to be intense. We've seen that before. So plenty of great entertainment as they make their way back to the finish here at the Kutzenberg playing field. So we're into Boschendal now, and this is Wout Alleman and Martin Storsek, and it looked like the Canyon team as well. They up the slopes, the vineyard climb. That's Sam Gaze and Luca Schwartzbauer. We'd seen them earlier there. They looking to make time on the general classification from 4th to 3rd, and this is the overall race leaders, Luca Braido and Simone Avendetto. And Ariane going up that first climb, there was a gap. I mean, at one stage around about 20 to 30 seconds between these two yellow jersey riders going up there. Whether it was that Luca Braido took him time to find his legs as he did yesterday, but he managed to catch up to his partner Simone Avendetto.
Yeah, at this stage of the race, there is sometimes a moment where you don't quite have the legs to immediately fire the power. But yeah, they're looking solid again. What's interesting is definitely the fight for third on GC with Klimatita Obea battling a bit and Canyon being up front. It's so tight between those two teams for the third position on GC.
Now 53 seconds between them now.
Yeah, and that means we've got again a change.
Yeah, the virtual third place is with Canyon at the moment.
It's an absolute ding-dong battle every day, basically switching positions. But yeah, tomorrow's another day, and that, if the ding-dong goes back, could be interesting.
Now the team dynamics coming into it as Matt Beers gives Tristan Nokia a bit of a push there. Marco Hubert is going to sit on the wheel of the yellow jerseys there, get Tristan Nokia, his partner from last year. They finished third, just behind Braido and Avendetto last year. Travis Stedman is there and Matt Beers. So the sort of team dynamic of Toyota Specialized in Buko here is going to come to the fore today and could be a pivotal factor in the outcome of today's stage.
Yeah, definitely helpful to have another team in the game just to possibly close the gap. There's not a lot of flat riding here, unfortunately, where they could really benefit of that. There's a bit of bumpy roads between the one valley side and the other valley side where they need to cross over, which is quite rough to do. But otherwise, it's mostly up and down.
Yeah, from the perspective of our helicopter at the moment, you don't get the gradient perspective, but you just look at riders are going up here, and you know that they are working up a climb on these steep slopes on Boschendal Farm, making their way up towards the top of the trail. I think they're heading towards Porcupine, or even may have just gone through Porcupine. I'm not sure. They go up, down Porcupine, and then back up to a brutally hard climb called Big Bunny. That'll come later, switchback climb. But yeah, it's there's no place to hide today, is there, Benno?
No, definitely not. They passed the checkpoint, the feed zone, 35 kilometers a little while ago. The gaps, as we saw, were 40 seconds. They are right in between those peaks that we see here on the stage profile. So that's where they are currently. And like you mentioned, it's up and down. Steep climbs, that's why they're out of their saddle and then into some more single track. But that's what's happening, or it's coming up for the next 10 kilometers pretty much.
Yeah, so there was a race here not too long ago at the start of the year, end of January, a big marathon race that attracts a lot of riders who are on training camps in South Africa. Both the men and the women. Alessandra Keller was here, and a whole lot of others. I think Greta might have been here as well. And so they know these trails very, very well. Whether they come from Switzerland or Italy, they all know what they're going to be riding here.
Yeah, there's a lot of riders coming out, teams, even federations, especially next year, I would say, preparing for the next Olympic circle. You're going to have a lot of those federations coming out here as well. French Federation has been here before. Swiss Federation has been here before. So it's well known. The trails and the support. It's not just the trails we have, also the support. We have great medical support all year round with the Mediclinic, with all the different hospitals that we have here. The Swan Years, you have the university, you have big gyms, the food here. Once you're here on the ground, you just have everything you need, and it's not just for mountain biking. Also, the triathlon scene here in Stellenbosch is huge, and it just makes a lot of sense for everyone that's based in Europe, cold winters, short days, to come out here and do their base training.
Just come out of the Porcupine Trail, a short little section of single track through that forest and bush, and it is Alleman and Storsek with a little advantage over Gaze and Schwartzbauer. And they are frying other fish because they are more concerned about Clementizia or Bayer. They can put time into them. They could step into third place. Alleman and Stosek have had a real roller coaster during this week. They've won a stage, but then they've lost copious amounts of time through mechanical issues. Alleman had that fall on stage 4, so it's been a tough week for them, but clearly they are in very, very good shape. Despite all that, they are still fighting here. Stage winner, as I said, Alleman's won into Stellenbosch with Fabian Rabensteiner before in 2022, so he knows what it takes and knows what it is to get to the finish here first.
It was about a 5-second gap, not a big gap between those two teams at the moment.
Schwarzbauer did most of the work for the Canyon team up the climb, and they'll drag up here. It's a long straight. When the road goes straight up, you know it's going to be steep and tough riding, and Gaze just sitting on the wheel.
Yeah, we just saw them actually riding next to each other, and I think that was just a quick check-in. How's the legs feeling? Should we close that gap, or should we just ride our own pace? Sam checking in with Luca how the body is feeling.
We check in with Stefan. He's closed the gap quite nicely. Stefan, good riding. Good work. You've clearly trained.
Yeah, I have good legs today, I feel.
Martin Stosek and Bart Alleman, when last we chatted, they joined this group, and now they are really going hard. They are clearly motivated for a stage win here, and perhaps to move up on general classification. An opportunity to do that. They are a little bit off the back on 15 minutes down on the overall leaders. Fourth place at the moment is Canyon, who are now moving virtually into third place. So, yeah, whatever they can gain today. What's this trail like? Talk us through this and that Porcupine Trail, Stefan.
Oh, that was just a nice, like a bush tunnel trail down. Visibility was a bit... not ideal, but and the terrain or the ground is loose like a loamer on some hard. You needed to be very, very careful. Also tree stumps in the apex of the corners, which is normally not ideal if you don't know the trail and come around the corner very quickly. But I mean, these are the best riders in the world, and they know how to ride the bikes.
Just give us a perspective. It's often difficult to gain perspective on the gradient of this climb.
Right now,
what's the gradient like?
Right now it's like a 8% gradient. It's not too steep. It's really good rolling. It's solid hard pack. There's no dust. Everything is settled by the rain. Really, it's a nice incline, but still, obviously that long stages after yesterday, everything hurts.
Yeah, and Bart Alleman there, just rolling back to make sure that Martin Stosek's okay. And that's what it's all about here. You've been there, you know what it is. Managing the partnership, managing the rider who might be suffering most today is key, isn't it, Stefan?
It's the team spirit that you need to keep up, and it's managing chaos every day, because everything is unexpected. You don't know what's around the next corner. Anything can happen. Like there's a bit of a wire on the farm roads that gets tangled in your derailleur, and everything is up for grabs. So yeah, you need to manage every second.
We're watching you from in front, from on the nose, really, as they're coming towards the camera. From this perspective, it looks like Sam and Luca are closing, but they're putting in a bit of an effort to closing. Oh, okay, yeah.
It's about 5
there
meters.
We go.
So they're almost on the wheels, like closing in right now. Maybe they just took it a bit more easy for a couple of minutes, getting the gels in or food and something, and closing in now again.
Oh,
Look at
there
you
comes
smiling
the
at
train.
me. I don't know. It was a smile or a grimace, but he's riding super strong. Always good.
Oh, head-to-head battle up this steep climb on Siemensberg. The gradient looks a lot more than 8% now. Luca Schwarzbauer following the wheel of Sam Gaze, and then in the distance you see the rest of the protagonists. So there are definitely two races going on here.
Yeah, definitely for third place in here, and then for, of course, the yellow jersey fight is still on. They try to stay together as much as they can. And then we have Klimatica coming up on the end as well. They also try to control the damage that Kenyan team is doing right now. I'm not sure if they're aware that they moved into fourth overall position or not, but they're halfway through the race, so trying to keep the gap small is in their interest.
Yeah, but you get a sense that Stutzman is going quite well, but Valero, almost for the
Yeah,
first time this week, is the one who's suffering.
Yeah, interesting that. Well, Stutzman very much likes the climbing. He's very much the marathon rider, and David Valero only has transitioned into marathon racing, really. He's done some epics, of course, but yeah, everybody can have a bad day at some point. But I'm also confident that this is just warming up still a bit. And yeah, I wouldn't quite say it's over yet for David Valero here.
Marco Hubert and Travis Stedman now for Toyota Mbuko Specialized on the front, and then Matt Beers and Tristan Nokia. And matching them for pedal stroke for pedal stroke. The yellow jerseys won't let them out of their sight today, you feel?
No, definitely not. Yeah, they really want to put some glue on their wheels just to stick to the second team on GC as much as possible. But it's a good position for the Absa African jersey to be in front here, and whenever there's an opportunity just to get a small gap on them, you know, you kind of wear them off. Whenever you can get a small gap on them, they need to chase back, and that's how you can put some pressure on them.
Well, we're following the men up on the slopes of Simmonsberg Mountain. Wonderful camp here on Boschendal Farm. Wonderful trail network they've got here. And if it tickles your fancy to come and ride the Absa Cape Epic, well, you've got a couple of days. You don't need to decide. Just come and do it, because this is where you want to be this time next year. Challenge yourself. Take on the challenge and see if you can come and prepare and arrive at the Absa Cape Epic to take it on. All you need to do is to join, or tomorrow get onto the early bird list and enter. If you don't get an entry tomorrow, you'll certainly be in the waiting list. Now, this is a nasty little climb called Big Bunny, a switchback climb. It's the route of slightly less resistance. Going straight up would be brutally hard. This is a slightly easier way to get up this incline.
Yeah, it's a steep climb. Luckily, not as loose, not as rocky as it is on the gravel road just next to it. Again, it just shows how much effort goes into the trail building here. This area also becomes bigger and bigger. Every single year, there's new trails, also part of the Winelands Trail connection. So you do need to have one of those passes to be able to ride here, or you get your tape pass from Boschendal or the wine farms nearby. And it is just part to kind of like be able to maintain the trails or to extend the trail network.
Yeah, Winelands mountain biking is amazing. You can get an annual permit that deals with, takes care of all the trails from Grabo all the way out to, well, here, these trails here. So many, hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of trails, or you can get a local trail if you like, north-south central Winelands, that if you're just sticking to Stellenbosch or Paarl or Durbanville. So yeah, it's a fantastic initiative. This is the second group going up that climb.
Yeah, and it's about a 1 minute and 20 second gap between the front group and second group. Quite a gap, actually. They're just pausing here, 1 minute 30 actually. And the Klimatica Obea team hasn't come through yet, so they're even further behind, meaning their third position on GC is up the road at the moment.
Marco Hubert and Travis Stedman leading Matt Beers and then Tristan Nokia up this climb called the Big Bunny, and their riders have come up, local riders wanting to watch it here. Wonderful to see them up there. They've made the effort to get out there, and we'll see many of them, of course, on those trails closer to Stellenbosch later today as these riders close in on it. Up towards the top there, Hubert and Stedman. They've done a sterling job all week in support of Beers and Nokia.
Yeah, and again, the gap opens a little bit between Simone Amontetto and Luca Braido, who's the second rider in the yellow jerseys.
Yeah, these two cross-country superstars, they were supreme last year in finishing second, just 90 seconds behind Nino Schurter and Filippo Colombo overall. And two of the riders ahead of them there were, of course, and you can enter the Absa Cape Epic. It is a rite of passage in many ways for mountain bikers. It's that old adage here in South Africa: if you're a mountain biker, the first question you're asked is, have you done the Absa Cape Epic? And if you haven't, well, you're still a mountain biker. Edmund and Hubert doing the pacing job for their team, and hey, who knows if they get into the position later on in the stage, a stage win for them.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Obviously, having a second team in the game here can really be a bonus and a big advantage, especially at this stage of the race. Should you have a mechanical, they're right there. They've got the same equipment, riding the same equipment, so you can always exchange wheels or anything else that you need. Not the frame, though. You're not allowed to change the frame. Although I don't think Matt Beers would want to ride on the frame of Travis Steadman. Slightly too small for him.
Wonderful all-round rider as Marco Hubert goes to the front. Looks just around the corner.
Yeah, fantastic team play here.
Trying to put pressure on the yellow jerseys, and there's a chink in that armour of the yellow jerseys. Luca Braido, Simone Amontetto sitting behind Braido now. He was the one who was struggling up the climb and showing just a hint
of weakness, if there's any.
If there's any, exactly. And there's such riders and great athletes.
And at this stage, you know, it's not even, you just maybe have like a little bit of a mental bad moment where you're like, oh, just the pain is getting to you. It's not even that you're really having a weak day. It's just in that very moment, you're just like, oh, the fatigue is just taking over. But then you actually find the rhythm again and manage to keep pushing. But yeah, it's definitely also intimidating for Simone and Luca having four riders of the same team in front of them, and they have to really be very alert.
Is of climbing. Steadman looks over his shoulders just to see what effect are they all still in, and it's just to see what effect are they all still in, and they are. There's one lone rider in here. I think it's one of the Topado riders who's in there. Could well be one of them, and that could be Gioli Di Cosmo hanging with them there without his partner. But the race really is about these four teams here. Three if you really drill down, and two if you're absolutely serious, because those two are in red and yellow. They're fighting for the overall. The next group just coming out of the shadow of that little tunnel there, so they're not that far behind here, but they're heading towards a lovely section called Inferno, which by memory tells me it's a lovely section called Inferno, which by memory tells me it's quite a